Hi folks, welcome to this episode of the podcast. Confessions of a Delivery Driver. I was going to call this Down and Out in a Dystopian Digital World. You know you have reached the bottom of the employment food chain when you're a gig worker couriering takeaway food to people's homes. Of course, like everything in life, it's not all bad. Quite a few of the receiving folk have been warmly gracious, and jobs are really about the people in the end. These confessions of a delivery driver are a mixed bag of the good, bad and ugly when all is said and done. The app telling delivery drivers where to go. The technology of the app may make this kind of thing possible, but it is not the heart and soul of what it's all about. Delivery drivers and riders are still very much human beings, as the robots have not taken over yet. Sometimes, however, it does feel like that disembodied voice and flashing screen is determining your fate. One wonders how much longer we humans have left in the business of living. Take the second exit at the next roundabout, which translates in most instances as going straight ahead. Are we all going straight to hell via big tech's oligarchical exploitation of the little guy and gal? Big tech won't pay its fair share of tax. Big tech is full of American corporations that don't pay their fair share of tax wherever they operate. These multi-billion-dollar companies pull all sorts of accounting tricks, like shifting profits to tax havens, rather than paying the tax on them where they do business. Their customers may get a service which was previously unavailable, but the nation itself misses out on their fair share of revenues generated. Americans don't seem to want to pay their fair share of taxes per se. Paying taxes help maintain the roads that get used by the delivery drivers. Plus, tax revenue goes to paying police, paramedics, hospitals, and all the stuff that goes into a functioning city and society. Shortcuts and hacks cost the rest of us in the end. The cost of convenience is much larger than most recognise. It might seem smart to play funny buggers with this stuff, but you and I have to pay the piper ultimately. Workers pay the bulk of taxation down under through income tax. Wealth and assets are not taxed to the extent they should be. The gig economy exploits delivery drivers. As a delivery driver in the gig economy, I get to risk my vehicle and pay all the maintenance costs to keep it on the road. Fuel alone eats into the modest amounts generated through delivering fast food to punters. Many times a week, I am unable to generate the minimum federal hourly rate over a shift of up to 6 hours. Technology makes the convenience of delivery possible to consumers, but the company running the show does not ensure that its drivers make a living wage from the process. They take their cut from the transaction, and this often leaves too little for the driver to sustain a living from the work. The gig economy favours the tech companies and consumers at the expense of workers. Have a think about that next time you're enjoying your Maccas at home delivered to your door. Greedy corporations and their disempowered minions. I see the modern economy as a place where profiteering companies have managed to separate the concerns of workers from those of consumers. United we might stand, but divided we all fall. The gig economy was invented by Americans, and in the US the minimum federal hourly rate is $7.25. America is a deeply exploitative place. US businesses regularly rip off their own citizens for profit. You can see this in the outrageous cost of pharmaceutical drugs in the US compared to places like Canada and Australia. America has more billionaires than any other nation, which means a hell of a lot of economic losers on the other end of that seesaw. The media may celebrate the fortunes of the wildly wealthy, but the reality for tens of millions of Americans is poverty in real terms. President Donald Trump is a former celebrity TV star, where he played a fictional billionaire. This encapsulates the skew-if nature of the States, where celebrity and wealth outrank every other character trait, it seems. Too busy to say thank you. These confessions of a delivery driver are not about chance encounters on the titillating side, as some may have hoped for. For the most part, we rarely see our customers, as leave at door is pretty prevalent these days. I sometimes wonder at the motivation for this anonymity. Is it merely more convenient, or is it mixed with a pinch of embarrassment at having stuff delivered? I have noticed that those getting supermarket groceries delivered are more inclined to never greet you at the door. Slabs of water bottles and soft drink cans, 10 bags of shopping, and not a peep out of those residents, let alone a thank you. Such is the way of the world in this dystopian digital age. Too busy to acknowledge the human factor in this business of convenience. Of course, there are exceptions to this, with friendly folk greeting us at their door. It is amazing how a warm smile and a thank you can lift your spirits on some days. It is the little things in life which tell in the end, I find. Speed humps suck. Delivery drivers in the gig economy are powerless to control how many drivers are servicing their area. This impacts greatly on our ability to make a living wage. The big tech companies want as many drivers as possible to meet the needs of their customers, but that eats away at our ability to earn a fair remuneration. We strive to be the best at what we do by caring for the goods in our temporary care as we speedily deliver them to your door. This can be challenging when shopping centre car parks and roads are lined with speed humps to stop hoons from racing in them. I have counted upwards of 30 rows of speed humps in some large shopping centres. Visualise for a moment, trying to keep drinks from spilling and Asian soups in takeaway containers from slopping, as steep speed humps plague your progress in and out of shopping centres. Confessions of a delivery driver can involve challenges of gravity and motion in their short journeys to your door. Speed humps suck if you're a delivery driver or rider. Supermarket failure to fire at my expense. I will share with you some moments from an average shift as a delivery driver. My first job the other day took me to an IGA supermarket, which had only recently come on board as an outlet for our customers. I had picked up 3 deliveries from this IGA that week and successfully couriered them to households in the area. Entering the busy supermarket on this particular day, I waited patiently to be served by an available staff member. I had an empty trolley at the ready in case it turned out to be a large order of groceries. Eventually I was served by a woman working there, and she immediately and loudly demanded ID from me. I showed her the app on my phone with the relevant code displayed. But no, this was not good enough for her. I was forced to pull out my wallet and show her my own driver's license. This was a first in the many months I'd been doing this job. The IGA checkout lady then loudly called out my name and proceeded to ineffectually research the delivery order. It was not there, and she obviously did not know what was going on. In the end, I was forced to cancel my delivery part in this on my app, as contacting anyone in the gig economy is useless. These companies do not employ people able to do anything in real time about such stuff-ups. I got to bear the cost of the wasted fuel in driving out to this failed delivery opportunity. This kind of thing happens quite a lot, and we delivery drivers must suck it up and move on. The rudeness of the IGA staff member pissed me off, as she dumped her pressure at being short-staffed and lack of training to deal with deliveries upon me. Shooting the messenger is not an uncommon experience at the bottom of the food chain. Delivery missing in action. In another chapter of Confessions of a Delivery Driver in the Gig Economy, I was contacted by the tech company running the show to tell me that a customer did not receive their delivery, and did I have something to share on the matter. I delivered dozens of orders every day and asked for details. None were forthcoming, apart from the day and date it allegedly occurred. It had been a normal delivery day, and I had delivered all orders as instructed by the app on my phone. Obviously, this kind of thing upset me, and I immediately spent time needed to get in contact with someone from the company. Eventually, I made contact with an Indian-sounding voice on the phone. Now, these operatives are generally very nice people, and I spent a good amount of time requesting that I be provided with details about the alleged missing delivery, and assuring him that I had delivered all orders as instructed as per normal. I never received any further information, and this slur stays on your record. I thought about seeking legal advocacy over this matter. It left a bad taste in my mouth over doing this kind of work and the little support you receive from your digital masters. I had to think about their business model. The income is coming from the customers. The outlets provide the business opportunity, and the delivery drivers are at the bottom of the heap. To get this job, I had to pay for and pass a national police check, which was very thorough and took some 10 days to process. Logically, I'm not going to risk my employment or good character status by stealing whatever takeaway I was delivering, as that simply does not make sense. The gig economy, however, does not have your back when it matters, it seems. I was threatened that if I got further reports of undelivered orders, I would lose access to the app. This is what you get with a business model that underinvests in the human labour, which actually keeps the company going. Phony flagged intentions. Driving through a town suburb the other day, I felt sorry for the residents in that area. Dementia and mental illness is a scourge in Australia. Imagine being so easily confused that you are forced to display your national flag outside your home in order to remind yourself which country you live in. It is a sad state of affairs when feeble-mindedness is so apparent on the streets of our communities. It does not help that so many of the goods that these folk buy are made in China. Even the 4x4 giant utes many of these guys drive are made in China and purchased because they are cheap. On the other hand, all the tech we use is American. The social media and much of the hardware is American owned and made in China. I'm not sure if flying a flag outside your residence counts for much when your lifestyle choices tell a very different story. The American business model. In these confessions of a delivery driver, I wanted to illustrate some of the conditions and challenges facing gig economy couriers in the current climate. Big tech hides behind the technology and seriously devalues human labour in its business models. AI is only going to make things worse. You have to ask yourself, is it okay for these companies to profit via the exploitation of workers? Do you personally care so little about your comrades on life's journey that you think it is every man and woman for themselves? Remember, united we stand, but divided we fall. American business models have effectively managed to divide us and encouraged us only to think of ourselves. What has happened to the common good? Collectives are strong, but individuals are puny when measured against corporate giants and oligarchies. Have a think about fast food and how that sector operates. It is only by paying really low wages that fast food operations are profitable. In Australia, that means we have a special carve-out to pay younger employees in that industry below standard wages. In America, their federal minimum hourly rate is something like $7.25 an hour. Try living on that. The whole concept is based on the exploitation of workers. The gig economy works on the same exploitative principle. It is only the owners of the franchises and shareholders in the parent company who grow rich. American business and capitalism is founded on eating their own. This is no win-win situation. The actual food is not so good for you either. All that processed food, sugary drinks and deep-fried fat are not recommended by nutritionists, especially not every day. Combine that with getting it delivered and it speaks of a lack of exercise and poor diet choices. You have been listening to Robert Sudha Hamilton, as the author of The AI Heresy, his latest book. What Price Life? America Matters, Pre-Apocalyptic Posts and Essays in the Shadow of Trump, and other titles. Now available at Apple Books and Google Play Books. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a great day.